Optic starts streaming scrims, people, I shouldn't say people because I think the people at large are big fans. But the people within the CDL, not as big of fans. LAT in particular, I guess, were very much not in favor of their scrims being streamed versus Optic. And we've talked about this specific stuff before about streaming scrims and why teams should do it, why players individually should do it. Um, so I'm on Shotzzy's side 100%.
Yes.
There's absolutely no way that you could talk me out of the Shotzzy camp at this point. Um, I understand the point of view from other teams. I completely understand it. I disagree with it. I think it's short sighted. And I think that, you're essentially annoying if you are like, especially at this point in COD esports. If you're at the biggest, if you got millions of viewers, you're like the NFL, you're making billions of dollars left and right. Like you have all these TV deals and you're like, we don't want to stream like our practices anymore. Okay, that's fine. But your COD esports, some of these players are getting like more viewers basically for their streams than some of these games do, and like at least more attention online than the actual games do. So you should stream scrims. I'm sure you agree with this, right?
Yeah, I guess I missed that. I saw the Shotzzy like wanted to stream scrims. I missed that entire other like part of it that like other teams were mad and whatnot. I didn't see that at all. So that's kind of interesting to me. Um, Not necessarily the exact same topic, but just on a related note. One thing that's always drove me crazy in terms of like the streaming scrims and challengers gameplay saga is like the blocking the mini map, and like when people did the um what did they like they blocked like almost everything for S&D and no comms and stuff like that for like the challengers online tournaments and or like qualifiers for some of these like pro-ams and whatnot. Like that stuff has always drove me crazy because at the end of the day, this is Call of Duty, and yes, I understand the counter argument to like not wanting to give away strats and whatnot, but there is really only so many things you can do, and it's like if you're playing obviously early on in the season, it's you know it's harder to know what other teams are going to be doing. But as we get later in the season, it's like, okay, teams are going to send two left, two right. They're going to send 1-1-1-1 to four different spots on the map. They're all going to go right. They're all going to go left. And I get that that's like having that information is crucial, but there's only so many things you can possibly do. And it's like, I don't know. It does. I've just always thought the whole like not streaming scrims thing has really been weird to me because I mean, both of us were from that like longer, older esports, COD esports scene where like they were streaming the 2Ks and just the scrims from Optic and Black Ops 2 and stuff like that, like without even second guessing it. They were just doing that. That was great content, and you know, I don't know. I feel like I understand the counterpoint to it. I mean, you got esports teams like League of Legends where if you even talked about streaming scrims, like there was a worlds, I don't think it was this past world championship for League of Legends, maybe it was 2 worlds ago or 1 worlds ago, where like the scrim record for some of the teams against other teams got leaked, and that was like World War III in the league community. It wasn't even like the actual
Yeah.
gameplay, but just like the record of the scrims got leaked, and people were freaking out in the league community, if I remember that correctly. And like I can't even imagine that like equivalent to that happening in COD, just because I have that mindset of like, yeah, I get, you know, you could be giving some stuff away, but there could be it's just I don't know, especially in the spot where COD Esports is right now, like streaming scrims and having that additional content, especially with everything going on with ranked play. And right now it feels like so many top COD streamers and content creators and
Hmm.
stuff are switching to Marvel Rivals
Yeah.
because of issues with ranked play and stuff. Like, feels like now more than ever is the time where we need more COD esports content. And if streaming scrims is a way to get that content, then and that's going to help the longevity of keeping COD esports around, then I'm all for it. Even in Shotzy's like rant where he's talking about like putting like other guys are gonna be putting fries in my bag or whatever and stuff like that. Like, obviously it might not be that extreme, but like, I mean, it's a realistic point. Like, not even for other pros, it just could be all pros. Like, if we just don't do everything we can to try and keep COD esports around, like, all these pros could be in search of a job, you know?
Yeah.
So
Well,
really finicky topic, I guess. And I can see both sides of the argument. I really, not like you said, I don't really agree with the whole don't stream scrims argument. I could agree with not streaming scrims like in the lead up to champs. If you want to do that, maybe, like, sure. But especially like right now, like in this past lead up over the holiday break, if they were maybe not even scrims, but just like eights or something, like late night S&D eights, or uh I think if some of those arguments with like temp and there's like the clip of like formal roasting censor for getting 7 kills and eights and stuff like
7?
yeah, we don't get any of that if there's no scrims or eights being streamed.
Yeah.
So I don't know, it's definitely uh an interesting topic that has multiple layers to it, but end of the day, yeah, I think Shotzzy definitely made some good points.
I think that's the biggest thing is that we don't have anything else. So we turn to scrims because that is the current thing that we're talking about, where Shotzzy is saying, I want to do this. But if it was eights, if we had eights every night, then we wouldn't be asking for scrims or nearly as much. If we had some kind of FPL or some kind of equivalent in COD where, there's something for pros to stream, there's something for pros to kind of do on the off days or outside of the CDL matches, then that's just something that we can tune into, we can enjoy. We don't have any of that. We don't have S&D tournaments. We don't have anything other than CDL matches. And so we're going to turn to Shotzzy, and I'm going to support him wholeheartedly. I believe that he is right in saying this. I understand why there are players that don't, but I also think that a lot of players are insecure, and that goes to your point about the League of Legends players saying, don't leak the records. Like, it's not even the strategies, it's just how well you're doing in scrims, and that's just insecurity. That is not anything about, like, people don't know anything about your team other than you didn't perform well in scrims. If they see your record, they know no strategies, they don't know how you play whatsoever. But then you just know that, oh my god, look at TSM, they're just getting absolutely cooked in scrims. And that's all, like, that's just being insecure, and I'm not a fan of it. And I think it's the same way in COD. I think people hide behind the strategy aspect of it, but I really think it comes down to the pros don't want to get roasted by the community if they get cooked on stream for scrims.
Yeah.
And I think that's 100% it, and maybe 98% it, and 2% is like we have legitimate strategies that we don't want to put out into the public. But if you're scrimming the top teams consistently, those teams know what you're doing. They know your strategies because they're playing against you, which is way more valuable than just watching the stream. So I think a lot of it goes down to insecurity, and we just need to get past that. I did want to say, though, that I'm pretty sure like Optic has agreed to not do comms or minimap for at least some of the teams. So then it's kind of like, it's kind of boring, in all honesty. Like, it's nice because it's an attempt. We get to see a little bit, but when
It's
you
something.
don't, yeah, but you don't really get. I don't really care about the minimap nearly as much. I would love the comms more than the minimap because I get to learn more about how the players interact with each other, which is, in my opinion, the most exciting part about eights and stuff. Like, I just go back to like Impact scrims in like Black Ops 2, where those guys are just like full on roasting each other, and I wasn't even paying attention to the gameplay necessarily. And the same thing with the 8 stuff, like the 7 thing with Formal and Doug. Like, those things are what we're missing. But I go back to the point that if we had 8s on a consistent basis, or an FPL or S&D tournaments or something else, scrims would not be a topic of conversation at nearly as much. I'm sure some players, but I think everybody should do it. I watched Temp stream. I think last year or 2 years ago a lot because they were streaming scrims, and that was in challengers where I don't really know some of the teams that they were scrimming all the time, but I found it fun. I found it entertaining, and I think he got quite a few views while he was doing it. I just wish more people did it. I just don't think it'll happen.